Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Because now I know when something happens in our lives that is unexpected, you go. You have to go into it in order to ever have any hope of coming through it. So when you go, guess what? When you come out the other side, you grow.
Brought out more in me than I thought that I didn't even know that I had.
That has given all of us a great hope for what we can do with our own messages, our abilities to deliver, but most importantly, to deliver it in an authentic and very, very intriguing way.
Have you ever been in something or felt something where the only way you felt you could deal with it was to leave, get away? I thought that was the meaning of control. It took me 4.5 years to stop looking around the room of my life, of my journey, of my purpose, digging in cushions for a remote that never existed. Looking, re-looking, going back and upgrading, bringing in and pulling out things that do not serve you must go. Those things out in this world that are designed to bring us down, to keep us down, put their foot on our neck and whisper to us that we're never good enough, they don't whisper. They yell at us from all directions, top to bottom, bottom to top, side to side, side to side, corner to corner, and corner to corner, 365 days. When somebody asks you about yourself, don't you dare whisper. When they ask you to raise your hand, don't you dare half raise it. When they ask you something good about you, you scream it with all you have. Come on now, get up, get up. Tell me who you are. Show me who you are. Greatest truth of all, that not everyone has to remain lost.
soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
I'm so excited. I am. Y'all know why. Because we're here together. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else in the world. Wait, maybe Fiji, if I'm going to keep it real. I might want to be in Fiji. But other than Fiji, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else than right here, right now with you. And who doesn't love Fiji, right? Looks nice in pictures. One day I hope to see it. How about you? Good morning. Good morning, you beautiful people. You're looking awfully good today. And we've got a great show for you. It is, wow, August 3rd already. Can you believe it? Isn't it great to be alive and living within purpose? Can I get an amen? I'll kick it off. You bet I will. So here we are today. Great show for you. Like I said, Lisa in like Nancy, but I don't think that. No, that's not. No, I know what her middle name is. We just talked about it. Maybe we'll play Guess the Middle Initial today. We'll see. Anyway, Lisa N. Alexander is here, and I'll tell you about her in just a moment. Let me get to it really quickly. Oh, before I forget, next week, and I'll let you guys know exactly when, it's the print issue. There's only 4 of those per year, and we happen to be in one of those 4 print issues. I am speaking of the LA. Let me just say it out. The Los Angeles Tribune magazine. I'm so excited. The Power We Symposium, our trip to Romania. It's a 6-page article, and I'm just so excited. God, thank you so much. And get out and get yourself a copy. I'll let you know where you can get it online as well. I think it comes out next Tuesday, they told me. So looking forward to that. And also, starting tomorrow, I'm going to start running the promos. If you're in the Kansas City area, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th of this month, I and a bunch of other great speakers will be in Kansas City for the Becoming the Best You conference. It's my second time joining them there. Just got off the phone a few minutes ago with the event planner, Brenda Ringwood, and I'm so excited to be there. Dr. Ruben West will be there. Just all kinds of people. Head over to becomingthebestyou.com, and I'll give you that link before the end of the show. And also, the very next weekend, if you're in the Chicagoland area, holla, come on down to the 10. Okay, we're back. Are we? Yeah, Chicago Internet. Come on down to the Tinley Park Convention Center. I get to be the master of ceremonies, and I'm treating it like it's the Oscars, y'all. Oh, and that's another thing. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot. Heart of Hollywood magazine. You know, I was on their cover last year. They called day before yesterday, and guess what? Every cover model from last year and up to January of this coming year gets to come out to Los Angeles. I think it's March 12th. It's a Sunday for an Oscars party. Right? How exciting is that gonna be? I know. What am I gonna wear? What am I gonna wear? Right? Anyway, so that's coming up. But anyway, that's way down the road. Come on down to Tinley Park. Sanjeev Chopra is our keynote speaker. You might remember he was on the show. He's Deepak Chopra's brother, and he's going to be speaking on the subject of his most recent book, The Two Most Important Days, which is actually a quote from Mark Twain. And do you know what the two most important days of your life are? That's why I love this keynote. The first one is the day you're born, and the second one is the day you find out why, right? So come on and join us if you're in the Chicagoland area. There's the bell of purpose. I ring it every day, on purpose, with purpose. And it is a reminder. It is not a show gimmick or prop. It is an opportunity, because just like that bell has a ring to it, you guessed it, so does the truth. And I don't want you to miss it, right? There's that. Last thing, welcome to the show, my sidekick. She's been here all 7 years. This is Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Love me some Lucy, y'all. And I also love today's guest. Who is she? Who indeed? Lisa N. Alexander. She's a storyteller and, get this, a filmmaker. She's also the author of This Woman Knows and What $1 Million Brands Know, Branding and Marketing Strategies for Today's Entrepreneur. Lisa has also directed and produced two, not one, but two, count them, award-winning documentaries, and is currently in production on her first feature film, My Father, the Queen. Oh, I can't wait to get into that. Now, she's served within her community and has been an advocate for women entrepreneurs for well over a decade now. And she's currently a member of the National Association of Women Business Owners and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc. Lisa and her husband, Elgin, have two adult children and two four-legged babies, King Kobe the Great, Shaq the Wonder Puppy. Shaq the Wonder Puppy. Oh my goodness. Why do I feel that dog has a birth certificate? I just do, because I just got to see that name in print. Listen, this is Lisa's very first time with us. So let's roll out the virtual red carpet. Let's give a virtual standing ovation. How? Easy, painless, and free. Throw some hearts on the screen, because here she comes, Lisa N. Alexander. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I'm incredible. I'm amazing. I am blessed, highly favored, and living in dominion, just like you.
Hey.
Absolutely. So I want to get started, but first, there's a little thing I do. I like to jet out for just a second or two
Sure.
and allow the guests to kind of create their own vibe, maybe fill in some of the things that weren't in the bio, just kind of get to know the people for a moment, let them get to know
Sure.
you, and then I'll pop back in and we'll get officially started. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, all you, take it away.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Lisa Ann Alexander, and we will play that game and try to figure out what does the N stand for. So I am a PK, preacher's kid, and a queer spawn. So that just means that I have a parent who's in the LGBTQ community. And so quite a dynamic there to be both. And I'm also, as he stated, the author of This Woman Knows, which turned into its own community. We have a podcast, we have a blog, we even did a TV show, did some TV shows. And so I'm really excited about that work and what This Woman Knows represents, because it was a leap of faith to write the book in the first place and then to have everything spin off from the book and to build this amazing community of women who know. And so the podcast is all about sharing lessons learned. And today we have a episode dropping that's pretty near and dear to my heart. Today marks the 7-year anniversary of the passing of my mama, Bishop Gwendolyn G.P. Mack. And so that episode is dropping today, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think the bell's going to get a lot of work in today. Thank you for that, Lisa. Thank you. Let's go back to the origin story in the beginning, or once upon a time. All of our stories begin at the very beginning. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Born in Los Angeles, California. So I grew up around Inglewood. So the Great Western Forum, if you're familiar with the area where the Lakers used to play a very, very long time ago.
Yes.
Grew up in the area, went to St. Mary's Academy, was a red tie, class of 87. So I am a mature woman of a certain age. And that's where I grew up and spent all my time. I was a church baby. I was a church kid, so I know the life well. I know all the ins and outs of the Black church. That's
I'm
where I spend a
trying
lot of
my
my time.
yes, and I apologize for my mouth hanging open like it's trying to catch flies. But when you said Inglewood and then the Forum, I lived with one of my adopted sisters and her six daughters, um, just a block from the Forum.
Really?
Yeah, I actually worked at 17 at Inglewood Convalarium. It was a nursing home right down the street from, and I'm trying to think of the name of the street. It'll come to me before the end of the show. But my nieces, two of them, were here in this house last night visiting from California. It's two of those
Really?
six girls. And so I'm gonna text them during commercial break and say, what was the name of that street? Because I bet you know it. Wow. We might have
Absolutely.
walked right past each other and didn't even.
We might have, because I was on the bus, the RTD. Remember back in the day, it was the RTD
Yes,
back in
there
the
was
day.
one right up the
Yes.
street. Yeah. Oh my goodness. There was, what was that? Was it a pancake house? It was some kind of little restaurant right at the I'm gonna get that street. You're gonna
Okay.
it almost came. Okay. Well, we're gonna find out. Okay, so you grew up in Inglewood. So
Yes.
tell people was now because was that considered South Central or near it?
Near it, yeah. So
Near it.
when people ask me where I grew up in LA, they always assume it's one of the suburbs, West Hollywood or something
Yes.
like that. It's like, no, LA proper. I was there when the city burned, right in the middle of the riots, the 90s riots, right there. Saw it burn from my balcony. So LA proper.
Wow. So
Hmm.
when you were, and I eat breakfast on the show.
Yes,
So
enjoy.
yeah, thank you. All right. I think I've learned how to chew and eat and talk all at the same time, but we'll see. So, okay. So when you were, let's say, a high school girl,
Yes.
what were your dreams of becoming? What did you feel you were going to do in this world?
I knew I was going
Did
to
you
be a
know you'd
graphic.
be doing what you do now?
Yes, I was a graphic designer. So I was self-taught. I learned on the Atari 64, Commodore 64, did graphic design. Oh, I'm really dating myself.
There's a
Yes.
name we don't hear often, Atari.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Pong. Remember Pong, the first video game?
Yes.
Love
Yes,
it.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so
Oh,
that
so you were, go ahead.
I taught myself graphic design, and I am still to date the only 16-year-old to ever have a key to the church office because I was designing the church bulletin, the weekly bulletin, because of course, it's my church and it has to be done in excellence. And I was the only one that was able to provide such excellence. And so I've been a graphic designer for many years.
Wow. And we want to officially at this point take a moment and honor the memory of your dear mother,
Yeah.
because today is a special day,
Yes.
and that's why you chose this date to be on the show. I remember now
Yes.
when I was giving you options.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your mother. What kind of woman was she, and what was her being a woman of the cloth, if you will.
Yes.
A lot of parents are afraid of their children going into the entertainment world at all. How did your mom feel about the work you told her you wanted to do, your dream? Was she supportive, and what did she see for you?
So mama was my biggest champion. And so I would get phone calls from people I did not know. They would say, I know your mother. She told me to call you because I need something designed. So I should have just sent her out in the world with a box of business cards and just
Mm-hmm.
made her life easier. But mama was my biggest champion. Whatever I wanted to do, she supported me wholeheartedly. She didn't live long enough to see the documentaries that I produced or about the film, but she was that mother. She was always, always supportive. Always.
That's awesome. And what was her
Mhm.
name again?
Bishop Gwendolyn G.P. Mack, the one and
Well,
only.
we're dedicating the show to you, Bishop Gwendolyn. I know you're watching from where
Yeah.
you are at, and that's awesome. So you mentioned, oh man, there's so many different directions we could go here. Let's go to the LGBT thing. That
Yes.
caught me off guard. I didn't see. Talk about that.
So
So
yes,
I'm assuming you're talking about your father.
right. So I just found out that not only am I a preacher's kid, but I'm a queer spawn. And
Wow.
I did an interview recently, and not just a queer spawn. I am a queer spawn elder, so can't nobody tell me nothing. That's how I felt that whole week. And so queer spawn is a name that the community gave itself. And I always wondered if I was part of the LGBT community or just queer adjacent, because I had this experience, having a closeted gay father or semi-closeted gay father, and just living that life and having these experience. And then come to find out 53 years later, at 53, I find out, that there is a community of kids like myself, of adult children like myself, of queer parents. And so it's been wonderful connecting and sharing experiences with other people like myself. So we are part of the community.
So you have some friends, like a group.
There are 6 million of us.
Lisa,
there are 6
you know
million.
what we should do?
What should we do?
We should do a 90-minute television special, and you can head it. You can spearhead it.
Oh, I would love that.
Because I'm gonna tell you, and I'm shocked because my husband is a PhD, a therapist, and he is one of the top transgender therapists in the state of Illinois. And I have never heard the term queer spawn until it came out of your mouth. And I'm like, how did I not know this?
So
I would love to hear those stories.
Absolutely. So there's an organization there where you are called Black Alphabet. They do the Black Alphabet Film Festival in Chicago as well. And so I've been talking to their executive director, and he said, Lisa, we had no idea either. And so from what I understand, the group was very protective because, and it's a 30-year-old company, 30-year organization, 80s, 90s. So this is not new. And it's called Collage, and we are collagers, and it's all us kiddos, all us kiddos.
What have you learned in there?
That
A little something.
Wow, that there are so many ways to be a collager. So you can be kids of a gay couple, a lesbian couple, trans. I mean, there are just so many ways to be a collager, and all of our experiences, are valid, and our story should be told and heard because it's a unique perspective coming from the kiddos of people in the community. And no one has a story like ours. Ours is so unique. And one of the things that I noticed immediately is a lack of stories from Black and brown bodies.
Across the board.
Yeah.
So you recently found out, when I say recent, I mean like in the last 5 years?
I'm talking in the last 2 weeks.
In the last
2 weeks. I did an interview with a sweet podcast host, and she says, Lisa, you do realize that you are a queer spawn. And I'm going, come again?
How'd she know?
She's a part of the community. It was a LGBTQ member. It was a podcast specifically for that community, and she loved the film and wanted to have me on the show. And so when we started talking, she says, oh, by the way, you do understand. Had I not done that interview, I wouldn't have found this community. I wouldn't have known that there is a name for us.
No. When did you find out about your dad?
Oh, about my dad. Oh, I was in my 20s when I finally found out. When my sister and I put 2 and 2 together, we were good and grown when we finally put it all together.
And did you have to confront him, or how did it finally, the elephant get out of the room?
He would make statements. He started making these statements. And one of them was, it's a wonder I didn't die of AIDS. And so my sister and I, we kind of look at each other cross-eyed and go, that's a unique kind of statement to kind of make. And then that was it. And then we started going back because my parents, when they divorced, I must have been 12, 13 when they divorced. So they stayed married 13, 14 years, but he never remarried. And so my sister and I we just started putting 2 and 2 together. And then we reached out to our family cousins, and their response was, y'all just now finding out? It's like, oh.
So
okay.
When you spoke to your dad about it, how's the relationship different now?
We are estranged.
Not because he's...
No, it had nothing to do with who he is. And we didn't, my sister and I never had a problem with that. In fact, we wanted him to be loud, be proud. I mean, especially in the 2000s and so. It's like,
Yeah.
please, it's like, get a boyfriend named Pierre, get a dog named Fluffy, y'all live together in happy bliss. But that he didn't want that for himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I have a feeling you're going to turn it into a story that we'll be able to
Yes,
watch on the big screen one day.
absolutely.
And speaking of that beautiful, tell us about that picture over your shoulder.
Sure. That is currently the movie poster for My Father the Queen. Again, I'm a graphic designer, so I designed and created
Beautiful.
that image. Somebody thought it was a real person, but it's actually two images merged together. So
It's just
that's
beautiful.
thank
And
you.
that's not a real person.
No. It's two pictures that I merged together. So this is an invented created image.
So is it down the middle, half and half, or
No,
top to bottom?
it
How does
is.
that work?
So it was a female person in the dress, and so I removed her face and put in some arbitrary man's face that was okay. So this is stock photography that I can use, so legal
Hmm.
stock photography, and okay, that and merged the two and painstakingly made sure all the hairs were right and got it right.
You sure did. Tell us about this title.
So the title of the film, it I got the name of the film before I knew what it was going to be. At first, I thought it might be a book or a novel, and I struggled writing the novel because I was trying to write the adaptation for the screenplay I kept seeing in my head. And thankfully, somebody pulled me out of my misery and said, Lisa, go ahead and write the screenplay. If that's where your passion is and that's where you're being led, do that. You can always come back and write the book. But I got the title first. I was minding my own Black business when the title came to me, and I said, we'll do something with that. I don't know what, but
So
the title
I
came
gotta scratch
first.
my back. Sorry.
No
I
worries.
know. It's like, okay. Um, so what is this story, My Father the Queen, all about?
So it's loosely based on my experience. It is a Black daughter story of growing up with a closeted gay Black man and the
Wow.
trauma that they both experience. And so the film is not just about her having daddy issues and walking through that and what that looks like. It's also about his trauma and what he went through. And you get a sense or you get a glimpse of to why he wasn't able to parent the way that this daughter needed to be parented.
So was your biological father actively involved in the creation of this screenplay? Because the writers go and get they go and do research and they interview people and this, that,
Hmm.
and the other. Where did you get that part then? How did you get the information? You know where I'm going. I don't know how
Sure,
to frame
sure.
it, but yeah, how did you pull that off? Wow. And to have your own father, but not actively in there, but still, he's not mad because you did this story, is he?
No, and
Okay, good.
so when I say that it's loosely, it's my premise. But
Yeah.
once I started writing, the characters had their own story to tell. So
Mm.
once we get into the story, nothing else is recognizable. It's all from the mind. These characters wanted to tell a story, and so that's the story that I wrote.
Okay, so you get the idea,
Yes,
and then you start the writing process,
yes,
and you finish the writing process.
yes.
And then what happens? What's the next stage in taking that to what we see behind us?
So then you do the process of writing is always rewriting. So once I finished writing, got the first draft done, then you go back and you write some more. You end up rewriting.
Mm.
So we went through a whole lot of drafts, and I'm a part of a great group on Facebook of Black screenwriters. And my question was, when is this done? And they said, when it's up on the screen. It's because it will change. It'll change on set. You'll need to adjust things. So the script is done when the film is being shown.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and what stage are we at right now?
Sure. We are in pre-production. So we are fundraising, we are casting, building a
Casting?
crew. Yes, we are
Are you
casting.
serious?
Yes, we don't officially have a casting manager director yet, but people that I know who absolutely will fit certain roles I've reached out to and they've said yes. So I've cast 3 roles already. We've cast our therapist that's in the movie, Carolyn, who plays like the role of my mother in all of this. Her name is Carolyn in the movie. So
Mhm.
we've cast the mature Carolyn because there is a time lapse over
Okay.
this. So you'll see a young Carolyn and then the mature Carolyn. So I've cast the mature Carolyn, and I've also cast a minor role, one of the nurses for the film,
So you started casting the women.
and one gentleman. Yes,
How many gentlemen are in the movie?
3. Yes, 3.
So there's
There's
still
Eric.
2 out there.
Yes, there's 3 or 4. Yes.
How nice for someone.
Yes, and we are filming in Chicago, and I happen to know someone in Chicago who hosts a TV show. So
I'm just saying, look,
I'm just
I am
saying.
not afraid. I open my mouth all the time about stuff. Well, anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't want any favors, but I'll throw my hat in the ring and come like
Absolutely.
anybody else. I have 2 this summer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
You did mention that.
yeah. So I just
Congrats.
love it. I love the world of this. I would have never thought. It's so different when
Yes.
you get to experience behind the scenes and all it takes,
Oh my
all those
God.
different shots and this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
So let's talk about how a person raises money because we know that we've had this conversation here on Bathrobe Moments
Mhm.
before. 2 forms of executive producer: the person who's actually producing or the
Mhm.
person with the money.
Mhm.
Oftentimes will get that credit. How do you go about raising the money and getting, because it takes, what's the budget for this thing?
We are $3 to $5 million budget.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how do you convince people to say, okay, here you go, here's a check? How
You
it's
have I'll say you have a very good story. And not only a good story, but well, especially when you're talking money. So I'm coming at this from 2 spaces. I'm a business owner, but I'm also a creative. So when I'm talking to investors, when I'm talking to people that can write a check, and it's like, this story is profitable because of the storyline, because of the characters, and potentially of who will have cash. So there will be a return on your investment. So that's how you have to talk to investors. Talking to people with checks, please tell them how they're going to get their money back. Some of them could care less about the story.
So where do you see this movie um finding its origin home, let's say? What screen would you like to see it on first? Is this something we'd see like on a Peacock, or would we go to the theater? So either streamed or a big, what are your dreams for that?
So it would be a combination of 2. In my heart, I am praying that we get a theater release, even if I won't even say that. I want a theater release,
Yes.
and then we can go to streaming.
Yes,
That's
after.
my goal. My goal is hit the theaters, do maybe some film festivals, the bigger film festivals, and then we go to the theaters, and then we hit streaming.
You know who, and I don't even know this, I don't know why I'm saying this, but you know who I saw as your lead?
Who?
Should I say it out loud?
Say it out loud.
What's his name? Porter.
Mr. Billy Porter. Let's just say that we love Mr. Billy Porter. That would be wonderful. That would be absolutely wonderful.
You know the story. Would he fit that character?
He would. He would fit either as the main character as Walter, or either Walter's boyfriend Frederick. So I'm thinking Frederick may be a shoo-in. He'd be a shoo-in. Yes.
Well, let's manifest that, Billy Porter.
Yes.
And I'm going to ask a couple of my friends that run in his circles to see. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Wow. So
Yes.
okay. How do you find within yourself, Lisa, after all of the work it's taken to get to where you're at with it, the patience piece? You know what I mean? It's like, because I was a recording person, and I remember, like, when I had my spec deal in my 20s out in LA with MCA, the biggest fear was the songs, getting it, dating, getting old, just kind of getting stale because they keep putting it off. They keep putting it off. It keeps getting, how do you stay grounded in this purpose of this piece in order to not go nuts wanting it now? I want it now. I want it now. I mean, how do you go about that?
So one, I have a couple of truths that I live by. One, nothing gets wasted. So anything that I produce never gets wasted whatsoever. And the second thing is that I am always provided for. So at the right time, things happen, things manifest, and I don't have to stress myself out. And I have to remind myself of that very frequently, that's the space that I live and I breathe in, because stress, worry, angst is a real thing. Anxiousness is a very real thing. And so just remember to find your breath. I'm a firm believer in yoga and breath work and like, calm down, sis, calm down. And just remember to stay very grounded and realize that it all works for me. It always works. That is my truth. It always works. Somehow, some way.
Amen. So Lisa, if a person wants to dive deeper, learn more about this project, perhaps they want to throw their hat in the ring to audition, or perhaps they want to say, well, I might be one of the investors or the investor. Is this where they should go? MyFatherTheQueen.com?
Absolutely. They should go there. And we do have a fundraiser coming up in Chicago in September. We're planning now. Black Alphabet, beautiful organization. They are an LGBTQ community organization. And what they do is make sure that the stories get told. They're surrounded around arts and media. Beautiful organization. They're about 9 years old. And again, they do the film festival there that surrounds this community. So they have embraced this project.
Oh, wow.
And are hosting a fundraiser on our behalf. So I'll be there in September.
Oh, would you let us know so we can get tickets?
Absolutely.
To come to that. My husband and I have got to support it.
Oh, thank you. And the choir will be there that's signed on to the project. And so you and I talked about this, the choir, and famous choir that sings Jesus Can Work It Out. They've signed on to the project. And so the hope is that they're there and they can sing for us as well.
What's the name of the choir?
Cosmopolitan Church of Prayer Warriors, I believe, is the name of the choir.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Listen, you guys get over to the site that you see on the screen, and we're gonna let it run down here on the bottom for a second. Well, maybe not. Did I freeze?
Oh, we froze. Hey, everybody. I'm sure he'll come back in.
That's Chicago Comcast. Sorry, girl.
No worries. No worries.
Booted me out. I was like, okay.
That has happened to me. I was given a webinar and got booted out of my own webinar. It's like, I won't call any names, but it's like, you know what? We won't be using this service again.
What can we do? Nothing. So listen, we're going to take you guys just a brief break. And when we come back, I want to get into these award-winning documentaries and talk about that, talk about the book and the work you do to serve women. And when we come back, we're going to dive right in, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Great time to share the broadcast out. Still a lot of show ahead. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name's Stephanie Olson with Stephanie Olson Speaking and Consulting. And I just want to say I met Lauren a year and a half ago, but it was 2 months ago that I decided that Lauren was going to be my coach. And boy, that was not a mistake. He has truly transformed my life in not only just personally and how I view myself and my speaking and my consulting, but he has transformed the work. Since I have been working with Lauren for 2 months, he has put me in front of people that are changing my life. He has put me on stages that are stages that I could have never got on before. He has given me opportunities where I can get awards that I would have never had. So thank you, Lauren. And if you want to change your life, give him a call.
Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. We have the awesome Lisa N. Alexander here. And before we went to break, Lisa, we talked about the movie, which we see behind you, My Father the Queen. And we're going to drop that link as well as Lisa's Main Road link into your comment section before the conclusion of today's show for easy access. So hang around for that. Let's go to your documentary work. Tell us about that.
So I have a business called Pretty Work Creative, and I work with nonprofits. So if you ask, how do I do good in the world? And it's like I work with amazing nonprofits who do so much good. And so two of the organizations that I worked with, well, there's actually three, we produce documentaries for, and my clients trust me to tell their stories. And I'm grateful for that. They do such amazing work that these stories need to be amplified. And so I'm a firm believer that stories can change the world, that stories can shift the culture, that they can redirect narrative. And so if I can help amplify the stories that these nonprofits have, that's how I believe that change can come.
Tell us about your favorite documentary that you've done, and give us a little peek
Sure.
inside the work that you did. What
So,
was the story about?
the favorite. So, okay, the first one, my first favorite would be called The Spiral. And so The Spiral is about the Alice community. So access limited, income constrained, but they're employed people. So these are people that are living on the margins. They're working two jobs and still can't make ends meet, right? And that's very real for a lot
A
of
lot.
people.
Mm-hmm.
That's real for a lot of people. And so the organization that hired me to create this story, create this narrative for them, we did a short doc, and it's all about what would you do. So we created a story. So it's a documentary. So we do interviews, but we also did a scripted part. There's a drama part of it that plays out. And so you have a mom, single Black mother, who's raising a daughter who's diabetic, needs medications. And if you know anything, diabetes medications is expensive. It is very costly. So how does this mom, continue to pay for her daughter's meds? She has a coworker who just died from complications of diabetes. And so she goes to the repast at the house, and his medication is sitting on the counter. Does she take the medication? Because it's the same medication that her daughter takes. Do you take it? Do you leave it? And so we just walk this out. And so I love that documentary because it puts you in the space of what would you do? So many people say, well, I would never do that. I would never do that. I would never steal. And the greatest example of that was Hurricane Katrina. You had people, breaking into CVS who just needed to get diapers for their babies, who just needed to get formula in that horrible situation. And then the judgment that came for those people. Oh, I would never. You've never been in 12 feet of water either.
Right. Literally
fighting for your life. And so you just never know what you would do in those situations. And so the organization that hired me to produce this work, he gave me two directives. He says, one, I don't want a white hero, a white savior in this film. And he said, two, I don't want a come up story. And I said, excuse me? And he says, come up stories are what mainstream uses to glorify the few who come out of extreme poverty or extreme situations. He says that because of the population that he works with, he says that if you are born into generational extreme poverty, the likelihood of you coming out of that is slim. That is the reality. You can make moves that put you forward, maybe for the next generation, but you yourself may never see it. And that thing hit me in my chest, Lauren.
I imagine so.
It's like, I understand my assignment, sir.
So how did it turn out?
Amazing. Oh my God.
Really?
Yeah, I will send you the link. The documentary came out so good. The guest that we hired to the experts to come and speak on it, it was awesome. I would have to say that's my favorite. The Spiral came out amazing. Loved it.
Oh no, go ahead.
The nonprofit that hired us to do it, they have done exactly what they're supposed to do in leveraging that piece of content. So they've gotten new funders. They're meeting with legislators. They do private showings. They use it as a lead in to have start conversations. So they are leveraging that piece of content. So their ROI is through the roof at this point.
Okay. My mind is spinning because I have a client who I think I want to introduce you to.
Sure.
Her nonprofit. It's leading me to this question.
Mm-hmm.
How does a nonprofit know if this is something they should pursue? How? Because when I was a planner, I specialized in nonprofit fundraising because a lot of planners wouldn't touch it because it's like box office poison to us.
Yeah.
Not very successful, consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And but I loved it. I absolutely loved the work. What would you say? And I get it. I could see how this could be a great way to bring in new donors so that your
Absolutely.
donor pool doesn't dry up. Something
Mm-hmm.
better than just an annual fundraiser, that kind of a thing. So when you find your clients, how does that happen? Do they think that way? Nonprofits, yeah, we could benefit from a documentary, or do you reach out and say, I've looked into your work. Have you ever considered? Tell us about how that process works.
So I find my clients on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has been very good to this business owner. And so when I did the first one, then it just became word of mouth. They saw the first project and it's like, oh my God. Then the sale became easier. So the first project I worked on, and I love this documentary as well because we did a scripted piece as well. There's a drama intro to the documentary that is amazing. I'll send you the link to that as well.
Okay.
And so that piece of work was all about kiddos who are brought up in the juvenile justice system here in Texas and foster care. So two very broken systems.
Now
And
you're
so,
talking my language now.
yeah, two very
Wow.
broken systems. So that documentary is called Just One, and the opening scene it's a shocker because you don't expect to see what you see at the end. And it was so powerful. I had somebody who had a similar experience. They said, Lisa, is like I relived my sentencing. It was so real. So that's the kind of work that I aim for, is to really
Wow.
immerse the person in what they're seeing. And so it's become, so the way that project came about was I was hired to do a video, and that nonprofits is like, we need a video. We need a video to put on our website. We need a video to play at the fundraiser. And so when I took a look, I went to see what their colleagues were producing, right? So people that are doing similar work, what do their videos look like? And I swear that there must be a template out there somewhere that every nonprofit needs to follow. And when I go and I look at the YouTube, I go on their websites and I see that it's had like 12 views over 3 years. I'm going, something's
wrong.
This is not. And you've just spent all this money because video production is not cheap.
No.
Not done well, video production is not cheap. And so I went to my client and I said, this is what I found. And I said, you're getting ready to spend quite a bit of money with me, and I don't want to produce something for you that does not get you a return, that doesn't get you a new audience, that doesn't get you new funders or, new volunteers. That's not the work I want to produce for you. I could easily just take your money, produce it, and be gone on to the next client.
Yeah.
That's not how I work.
Good for
If I'm
you.
in, I'm in. And I want you to get a return on your investment. And so I said, do you trust me? She's like, what you got? And so I told her, I pitched my idea. She was like, let's go. She went to her funders and got more money. She says they had just gotten a grant, and she's like, we can go up to this amount. So I had, I think maybe $25K to play with. And that was a tight play, but we got it done and it came out wonderfully. Another piece I'm very proud of.
Wow. So when you say
yes,
we got it done, how many moving pieces within this machine, Lisa? Yeah. Do you play multiple roles? Do you wear multiple hats? Are you behind the camera? And tell us when something like this goes into production, you've done the writing and the storyboarding and all this stuff, and you get it all out there. Then who do you become?
I become director and producer. Then I become the person that hires the rest of the crew. And so one thing that was very important to me, like I said, I've been a graphic designer for many years. And when I started this work, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me.
Correct.
There just wasn't. And I promised myself that I would create a space for people that looked like me, where we could do the work, that we could do our best work and do work for amazing clients. And so that I'm very intentional about that when I'm hiring cast and crew. And so I have an amazing group of people that I work with, all Black and brown, all everybody on the rainbow. Just it's this beautiful group of people that help me do this work. My husband is one of those people, so he works a 9 to 5.
Shout out to the husband.
Hey, that's a
Yes.
good man. That's a good man.
There you go.
So if I call, I say, hey, babe, I got a project and it's like, I only want you on the camera on this one. He will take off work. It's supposed to, he's taking a vacation day, but he's working. And so he explains to his coworkers, I got to go work for my wife. I'm not going anywhere on vacation. I've got to go work for my So I appreciate him.
That's awesome. Sounds like you're
yes.
definitely evenly yoked, which is important. And that support
Yes.
is ultra important.
Yes.
Tell us about your book, This Woman Knows, and what $1 Million Brands Know, branding and marketing strategies for today's entrepreneurs. What's that all about, and who's it for?
So This Woman Knows is a memoir I wrote that speaks to where I was at that point. So I think I was near 40, close to 40 when I wrote that. And it was all the lessons that I had learned and I wanted to share, because I believe in, again, the power of stories and sharing our stories and not keeping those lessons that we learn to ourselves. Because one, we don't go through things by ourselves, right? It's not just us. And so many times when we're going through something, we think that that's our truth, that it's just me experiencing this foolishness and folly. And so you write and you tell your story so that other people understand that no, it wasn't just you, and that they can learn from your experience. So that's what This Woman Knows. There will be a sequel, because now, as a much older woman, the lessons we have learned, so there will be a sequel to that. And again, from that book came this whole beautiful community, the blog, the TV shows, now the podcast. So this is just one. And if I could encourage people, it's like, be obedient. Things don't have to be perfect. You put the work out there and let the work do what it's supposed to do.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Now, this woman, so
yes,
clearly, you went from little to grown up Lisa.
Yeah.
When you were little Lisa, where did you find your inspiration? Because I can't imagine there were a lot of Black women doing what you now do that you could look up to and say, I'm going to be like her. I want to do what she does. So where did you find your inspiration that led you to being this woman who knows?
Wow, what a question. So I didn't see myself reflected. And so I became this is not arrogant.
Mhm.
It is not prideful. It is me. It's like I knew that this was something that I could do. And so I had to inspire myself. And so I would look at the work of the masters, the people excelling in this, and it's like, I can do that. I can replicate that. I can create. And so I kept trying. I kept practicing. I went to school. I don't think it's in existence anymore. It was a vocational school for graphic design.
Okay.
And so I went to school, learned how to use the Mac 2 SE. Do you remember that one?
No,
the old Mac.
I still ain't learned it. So I'm just saying you're way ahead of me.
So that's what I learned on. So Quark Express 1.0, I'm early version of everything. I've seen everything roll out. And so it was, and because I had the support of my mama, who told me I could do anything I wanted to do. My grandmother told me I could do anything. Nana Brown had lots to say. Nana Brown, that was my fire starter right there.
Shout out to Nana Brown.
Nana Brown was a G.
See? I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So within your own family dynamic, just the strength
Yes.
of the
Yes.
women who had to do what they had to do to
Raised
get
me.
you. That's awesome. So
Absolutely.
we've got a couple minutes left. I wanna round this out today with this.
Yeah.
Tell us what your definition of legacy is and
Wow.
why it's important to you to leave one.
Awesome question. I have two children, two adult children, and I told them both, and I tell my son especially, I said it makes no sense to trudge a new road if I've already trudged a road. All you need to do is follow behind me, and when my time ends, then you continue.
You keep going.
So for me, that's what legacy is. It's paving out a road. And it's like taking all the hard knocks. I told my son all the time, it's like, there's no reason for you to experience certain things. I've already experienced them. So if you listen to what I'm saying, if you'll heed what I'm saying, and it's like, you'll get to stand on my shoulders and excel, go so much further than I've ever been able to get. And so for me, that's legacy, that me leaving a set of instructions. That's why I keep everything up on my blog post. That's why I keep every podcast up. I have my journals from 20, 30 years ago because these are road maps. And it's like, here are the lessons that I learned. Take them, learn from them, because they're universal and they're timeless. So I know things change. Fashion changes. I know that culture changes. And it's like, but some of these life lessons are universal and they never change.
There it is.
So if you get that, and you can master self, because mastery of self is a whole different conversation. But if you can master self and learn your lessons, what can't you do?
What can't you do indeed?
You
just beautiful, beautiful. Wow, Lisa. I wish we could make time stand still and stay here for a little longer. But unfortunately, the day keeps moving and marching forward, just like I hope you all will do today after being poured into. A lot of great nuggets available today. Take a couple of them with you, won't you? And Lisa, thank you so much for all you're doing. I can't wait to get those links to the documentaries. I can't wait to see you when you're in Chicago to support you on that fundraising event and everything else that I know you're going to do. Hey, you guys, right there on the bottom of the screen, ticker taping right now is lisainalexander.com. Head over and take a look at all the wonderful things that she's doing to ease suffering in the world. It might just inspire you to do a little bit more with your way of easing suffering in the world. Listen, get out there today and find that highest version of yourself. Just keep moving forward, getting up, take great to greater, strong to stronger, and bright to brighter. And like I tell you every day, I'll meet you tomorrow morning, God willing, right out there on the front porch, where together, you and I, we can create another illuminated conversation, another divine moment in time right here on Bathrobe Moments. And as always, I love you. And you guessed it, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Be the best and look for the best in others. Lisa, thank you. Great job.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course. Guessing. We're going to have her back, you guys. Don't worry about that. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show